Okay, fifth graders, the day you've been waiting for, we are finally gonna add color to our paintbrush observational drawing. Now, the kind of paint we're using is called liquid watercolor. So it's kind of like the watercolor or the temper cake you've used, but instead of being in a dry form, it's in a nice liquid form. You should have your water station that has water to clean your brush when you switch colors, and you should have your drying sponge. This brush is not to soak up paint, it's to soak up water after you've cleaned your brush. Our paper should be sitting on a messy paper, and basically this paper's job is just to keep the mess off the table. So if you get a little bit off your paper, that's fine, but try to get it on the messy paper. So the watercolors, the liquid watercolors, are set up to be shared. Be very, very careful as you're coming in and out. We don't want to be dripping into another color, especially yellow. Yellow we have to protect because the littlest drop of any other color and the yellow is gone. So to start, I'm going to think about my colors. I'm imagining each paintbrush was maybe just dipped into a color and maybe the color is spreading across the paper. I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my brush. I'm gonna start with, tough choice. I think I'm gonna start with red. So I'm gonna take it, do a little careful spin. I'm gonna come over here and I think this is gonna be red. And I'm just gonna imagine that it's kind of on the brush a little bit, and then it's coming off the brush. When you wash your brush, make sure you're not causing big waves because that can get onto your artwork. Wipe, don't tap. If you wanna start with a drier brush, use the sponge to kind of soak up some of that water. And then I'm gonna change colors. So 1, 2, 3, wipe to blue. So where I want it darker, I can kind of go back with a little bit more and add it. If I want it kind of lighter, I'm gonna keep my brush a little bit wet, get a little bit on here, and that kind of makes it a little bit lighter. So then I'm gonna use yellow, so I'm really gonna wash my brush. And what I'm doing is I'm gently touching it against the bottom, but I'm not squishing it too much. And by gently touching it against the bottom, the bristles will open it up. If I don't touch the bottom, the bristles stay closed, but I don't want to squish it. Poor little brush. Once you're kind of happy with your colors, add a little bit more here. If you want, you can do a little bit of kind of a speckledness. Now when we kind of flick paint on here, we have to be extra careful. I'm gonna make sure my brush is not too wet. I'm gonna start with a lighter color, put a little bit of paint on there. I'm gonna take a brush, I'm just gonna go tap, tap, tap. I wanna be very careful that I'm not flinging it in the direction of myself, where I'm getting it on my clothes, and I'm not getting it on my friend's paper. So that's why the pencil kind of helps us direct where the tapping is happening. When you are all done, you're happy with the color that you've added, you've thought about your composition, about your space, then I'm gonna really clean this brush well. I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 good spins, making sure the bristles are touching the bottom gently. I'm gonna dry it, leave it in here, and I'm gonna place my artwork very carefully, nice and flat onto the drying rack so it can dry without any accidental drippages.